world of creative journaling has really taken off in the last several years, and in large part it's probably because of the internet and social media and amazing creators coming out and sharing their work with others to inspire people to get into their journals and be creative. That is certainly how I first found out about the world of creative journaling. And now I am one of those crazy people on the internet who is trying to convince others to come to the colorful side, not the dark side, the colorful side, and journal in a creative way. So hello, if you are new, my name is Kelsey Lee, and here at My Abiding Journal, we are all about helping you to explore your creativity and document your life. Now, my guess is that I'm not the only person on YouTube or Instagram that you are following who does creative journaling, and as you explore deeper and deeper into the world of journaling, you are likely going to say, where do I begin? There are so many kinds of journaling, and I don't know how to get started. That is why I created this video series to introduce you to the many different types of journaling and give you a greater understanding of your options and the different ways that you can combine those different types of journaling to create a style that is unique to you. And before we jump into this video, I do want to give a shout out to Skillshare, who is sponsoring this video, and it could not be a more perfect fit because Skillshare's literal mission, their entire tagline is explore your creativity. It was my tagline first, but we'll give it to them. Skillshare is an online learning community where you can have access to thousands and thousands of courses covering literally every type of creativity you can possibly imagine. You can learn to watercolor, you can learn to make your own furniture, you can learn how to create videos or do design in Procreate. You can do anything. And of course, they have just about every type of journaling that I'm going to talk about in this entire series, covered by an entire range of other creators making really fabulous videos over on Skillshare. And what I love about it is you can take as many classes as you want at a time. You can do it at your own pace, and all of the content is completely ad-free and without any interruptions, so you can just focus on exploring your creativity. So if after watching this video you are ready to dive even deeper into one of these types of journaling that I share with you, definitely head over to Skillshare using the link in the description box, because the first 1,000 of you to click that link will get a full month of Skillshare for completely free. So imagine all that you can learn and create in that time. So please click the link and have fun exploring your creativity, and thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. So this video is actually the continuation of a new mini series I am doing here on my channel on different types of journaling that fall within 4 main categories: journaling for memory keeping, journaling for creative exploration, journaling for self-growth, and journaling for reflection. In the first video in this series, we talked all about journaling for memory keeping. So if you haven't seen that video already, I will have it linked up here in the cards and down below. I highly recommend you go and watch that one. And in this video, we are going to be talking about journaling for creative exploration. You will notice as I start to talk about these different types of journaling that I'm really talking more about the style of journaling more than the content in this particular video. So what you choose to document, reflect on, capture on the page in terms of the content is totally up to you in these different types of journaling. The creative aspect is really all about how you are bringing the existing content that you want to put into your journal to life on the page, whether that's through photos or paint or stickers or mixed media. There are so many different ways to get creative in your journal, and we will talk about that very soon. But I do want to just clarify that when we talk about journaling for creative exploration, it really is focused more on the style of journaling. And the one other thing I want to emphasize in this video is that you are creative. Don't argue with me. I know you want to. You want to say, I'm not artistic, I can't draw, I don't know how to paint. You may not be artistic, but you are creative. Creativity is inherent as a human being. We are all created to create. And I really believe that it is something we all just need to tap into, and art journals are the best place to do exactly that. And what I hope you learn from this video is that there's no one right way to tap into your creativity. And that is why I purposefully called this category of journaling, journaling for creative exploration, because exploration means you are discovering as you go. It means you are open to making mistakes and learning through the process, and knowing that in time, your journal is going to become a beautiful map that shows you your entire journey and all of the growth you've experienced. So always remember that we are journaling for creative exploration, not perfection. That is a little nugget from a recent video in which I shared journaling advice from an oyster. Yes, an oyster. I highly recommend you go and watch that video. It is one I am extremely proud of because it actually started as the introduction to this video, and it just really grew into this beautiful metaphor and needed to be its own video. But I truly believe that every single one of us has that potential to form pearls within us by being creative. All right, so now let's talk about some of the different ways that you can be exploring your creativity in your journal. I want to begin first by talking about two essentially catch-all terms that you will hear all the time when it comes to journaling for creativity, and that is creative journaling and art journaling. So first, creative journaling. To me, this is really the catch-all term that is used for any type of journaling that goes beyond just pen, paper, and writing words. I find that it most commonly is used by people who are doing journaling that tends to use washi tape, journaling cards, paper, photos, stickers, doodles, colors, and more, but are usually using those things to supplement but not replace the writing. So creative journaling, I find, is most oftenly used for journaling that involves creative elements and the written word. Art journaling, on the other hand, I think tends to be used a little bit more to describe journaling that is really focused mainly on the creative aspects and the art. Essentially, art journaling tends to be mostly art and very little words. I find that they tend to be a little bit more illustration heavy or do a mixed media style. And a way to think of it is as a visual diary that is expressing your emotions and experiences primarily in images and art. Quite frankly, I think sometimes art journaling is often used to describe something that others may just call a sketchbook, but it's a little bit different than a sketchbook because it typically is record keeping in some way or trying to reflect or explore a theme or topic in a way that you might not do in a general sketchbook. So that is personally how I would try to differentiate between a creative journal and an art journal, because these terms are kind of thrown out there all the time, and to me are essentially the umbrella terms that everybody is using for all of the other types of journaling that I will be talking about. But I'd be really curious to know what you think is the distinction between creative journaling and art journaling. Is there even a distinction, or are we basically just all using different words for the same thing? So one form of creative journaling or art journaling that you might hear about that is especially popular right now is a junk journal. Now, a junk journal might not initially sound appealing because typically the word junk is associated with trash or things that should just be discarded and thrown away. But junk journaling gives those things new life. Typically, a junk journal is using recycled and found materials to create a beautiful journal that people can use to do anything, right? Document your memories, be reflective, have a quote page, whatever you want to do. Again, the whole purpose of a junk journal is really focused on the style that you're doing more than the content. You can make the content whatever you want. But junk journaling is interesting because I think it originally began as how we described a book that somebody was actually making. Junk journaling in its purest form is creating a journal from different papers and ephemeras, found materials, and binding them together to create the journal from scratch. But even though junk journaling initially began as somebody finding materials and building their own journal, I think that the term has really taken on a new life and really is just describing a style of journaling that anybody could do within any notebook. Personally, I use the term junk journal to describe any page that I'm doing that takes on the essential style of a junk journal, even though I didn't make the notebook myself. So what I mean by that is if I'm doing an entry that features found materials, so maybe recycled papers, maybe I'm using some ephemera that is just found that maybe people would usually throw away, things like receipts or ticket stubs. And I think you will find too that junk journaling does tend to have a little bit more of a vintage vibe to it. I don't know that that necessarily has to be the case, but if you look up junk journaling, they do typically follow that same type of style that tends to be a little bit more vintage and nostalgic. It is a beautiful style of journaling, and I highly recommend you check it out. The next style of journaling is creating a collage journal. Collage is a word that comes from the French verb coller. I'm surely saying that wrong. I am really, really bad at trying to pronunciate things in French, so I do apologize. But the word in French, whatever it is, means to glue, and that is what the collage word in English comes from. And so essentially, collage refers to the art form that is taking an assemblage of images and writings, items from nature, maybe even textiles. Literally, it can be anything. People often use cutout magazines or photos and try and rearrange them into something new. It is taking those items and bringing them onto the page to tell a story or capture a mood or focus on a color and really reflect on an idea or illustrate and incorporate a song or poem or quote. Literally, you can make a collage to achieve just about anything, but it's a beautiful art form, especially for those who are just getting started and don't consider themselves to be very artistic. This is a great way to explore your creativity using existing materials. Collage journaling is something I personally love to incorporate every now and then into my journaling, whether that's even just a little part of the page or doing an entire page in more of a collage style. It is just a really fabulous way to explore your creativity. Next, we have a photo journal. Now, in my journaling for memory keeping video, I did talk about scrapbook journaling, which is definitely a form of journaling that tends to overlap with journaling for creative exploration because scrapbooking really is typically a creative pursuit. But similar to scrapbook journaling, I do want to mention photo journaling as an umbrella term that scrapbook journaling I think falls under, because photography is such an amazing art form, and I know it's a way that so many of us like to be creative by capturing what we are seeing through the lens of a camera. And if you are somebody who enjoys photography and takes a lot of photos, whether it's even just on your phone or if you have a really nice camera, if you enjoy photography, I highly recommend you try photo journaling, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is using photos as the main focal point of your journal entry. This could be done in a more scrapbook style where you are taking photos from your life and your days and what is happening in the world around you, and maybe even adding other creative elements, whether that's through junk journaling or collage journaling or just general creative journaling using washi and stickers and things like that. Or you don't have to make it about memory keeping at all. You could make those photos just beautiful images that you are capturing, whether they tell a story or are just simply there to be appreciated for their pure beauty. And the photo could be all you put on the page if you want, or you can use those photos as a prompt for writing. For example, if you have a photo of an autumn tree, you might use that as an opportunity to reflect on the changing seasons and your favorite season. Or you might just use that image as a way to really delve into what you are seeing through the written word. So blending photos and writing can be a really powerful way to document and reflect, but you also could just let the photos speak for themselves. Another type of journaling for creative exploration is to keep a nature journal. Now, certainly, I guess you could have a nature journal that is not creative and is really just writing down what the weather is or what you're seeing in nature. But personally, I think a nature journal is best when it does incorporate creative aspects. A nature journal is a beautiful way to explore the natural world around you through illustrations, drawings, paintings, and of course, the written word. You can use a nature journal to just capture the place right where you live, the plants that you see, the animals, the changing seasons that are unique to your landscape. Or you could use your nature journal as an opportunity for self-growth and learning and just talk about nature in general, any fascinating thing you happen to learn about nature, whether that's through documentaries or a science class you're taking. You could use this as a place to capture just the amazing facts of nature and the world we live in. Or you could blend your nature journal with a travel journal and really capture the natural world as you go to new places. If you want to start a nature journal, I highly recommend you try taking your journal with you on a walk or a hike and sit down and just observe and notice, and maybe even bring some colored pencils or a little watercolor set and try and draw or paint what you are seeing in nature. Now that we have phones, you could even just use your phone to take a photo of what you are seeing. You could put that directly into your nature journal, or use that photo to look up what you saw. Google has a great little addition now where you can use images to search for things. You could search what that tree is, find out what its scientific name is and where it is in the world and what it needs to survive, and on and on. You may also consider collecting some leaves or flowers and pressing them and putting them into your nature journal. You can really get creative with how you represent the nature that you are seeing in your journal. And if you are looking for a little bit more inspiration on nature journaling, I want to recommend to you this amazing book called The Country Diary of an Edwardian Woman by Edith Holden. This is a real woman's journal from the early 1900s that ended up getting published, and it has beautiful illustrations that she took throughout multiple seasons in her own home across an entire year, with her writings and quotes and poems. I mean, she was basically the original bullet journaler, but was very focused on nature. It is a stunning masterpiece, and I highly recommend you check it out. I'll have the link to the book down below. So we're almost at the end here, and there's one more type of journaling for a creative exploration that I want to mention, and that is creative writing. As a fiction author myself and avid reader, I would be absolutely remiss to not remind you that creativity does not only come in the form of visual art. You can also explore your creativity through the writing itself. And exploring creative writing is for everyone. You do not need to consider yourself a writer or author or even a avid reader to be interested in crafting beautiful language and descriptions that better help you tell your story, or maybe a made-up story. So a creative writing journal can definitely take the form of a journal that is focused solely on building your writing skills by using writing prompts and exercises. There are tons of prompts that you can find available on the internet that help you to think about creating short stories or characters or landscapes. to use in storytelling. But you don't need to be interested in creating fictional stories to explore creative writing in your journal. You can focus on creative writing from more of a personal, nonfiction standpoint, where you are more focused on how you can better express yourself on the page through the writing. So that when you are talking about a memory, you can really think about it through all of your 5 senses and bring that memory to life on the page, capturing every little detail so that when you read what you wrote, it is like you're reliving that moment. Another way you might want to explore creative writing in your journaling is just to be more descriptive about things around you. So for example, you could choose an object in your home, like a favorite mug or a family heirloom, and really describe it in detail. How does it look? How does it feel or smell? What experiences or memories do you associate with it? And just try to be as lavish as possible in your details. Maybe you write a poem in your nature journal about the season you are in, or you try to use all of your senses to describe a memory in your scrapbook journal, or bring the experience of a particular food to life in the description of your recipe journal. You could also try incorporating this into a travel journal by writing from the perspective of someone you met on the trip, like a tour guide, or write about the excursion you went on, like a scene from an adventure book where you and your companions on the trip are the main characters, complete with dialogue and all. The point is that whether you are already somebody who loves to write and wants an entire journal dedicated to improving your creative writing skills, or you just want to be somebody who taps into descriptive writing more as a creative outlet to bring your memories and ideas to life even more, writing in your journal is another way that you can actually explore your creativity. You do not need paints and stickers to get creative in a journal. With a little bit of imagination, you can start exploring your creativity with just your words. All right, fam, so that is everything I have for you on journaling for creative exploration. I really hope that this video was helpful and gave you some ideas of how you can explore your creativity through your journaling even more. And if you want even more ideas for creative journaling, that is essentially the focus of my channel. So definitely go and check out all of my other playlists, and I promise you that you will be able to learn far more than you probably need to know about creative journaling. So I would love for you to subscribe and join the Abiding fam if you are not already, and hit the notification bell because there are 2 more videos in this series coming out very soon. Next time we are going to talk about journaling for self-growth. Can't wait. And if you haven't seen it already, make sure that you catch up by watching Journaling for Memory Keeping. Let me know down in the comments how you like to be creative in your journaling practice, whether you do different types of creative journaling or try to focus on one particular style. I would love to know all of the ways that you get creative. And if you want to find new ways to be creative in your journal, do check out Skillshare. I have that link in the description box, and you can get 1 month for completely free. So that is everything. Thank you for watching. Give the video a big thumbs up because it really, really helps out my channel. And I will very much look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, keep exploring your abiding creativity and document a life abiding in faith, hope, and love.